This vignette comes to us from the webinar called Engaging Technology and Online Pedagogy, where Brian Mull starts to talk to us about using Google as a teaching tool.
Going off of its back. And one of the things that I would do is I would ask teachers, or I'd ask students, how did this ear get there? Who put it there? What was responsible for getting it there in the first place? And the first place that students are generally going to go is they're going to jump on Google and they're going to type something very simple. So I'm going to do that for you here real quick. I'm going to pull up a Google search. And we're going to type something in like ear mouse. I call that the type and pray approach to search, where we type a few words in the blank and we hope what we want is going to come up near the top. But when we do that, some interesting things start to happen. So let's take a look at this here. We're going to look at this first article that generally comes back from Wikipedia. And I have a couple of things that I'm going to have highlighted here for you. So when you look at this article about this mouse, you see here that this mouse had what looked like was a human ear growing on its back, but it was actually a biodegradable mold that was attached to it, and stem cells and cow cartilage was put around this, and the ear flesh kind of developed around the mold. As we go down a little bit further, we see this Dr. Charles Vacanti, who is an anesthesiologist at UMass Medical Center. So that's coming to us from Wikipedia. Now let's look at this other site briefly. This one comes back to us from the BBC, and it has some different information here. So as I pull up my highlights, you'll see this article says that this ear actually grew on the back of the mouse. Instead of Dr. Charles Vacanti, you see a Dr. J. Vacanti. And instead of being an anesthesiologist, you see that he's a transplant surgeon. So we see a lot of information that doesn't agree with one another. Now, what do we do when students are doing research and they come across two different types of sources that have two very different types of information in it? Well, what most students will tell you is, well, you're going to go out and you're going to find a good third source. Well, if we can find two versions of the truth on the web, certainly we would be able to find two versions of backup information as well. So we have to have students think much more critically about how they dig in and find the kind of information that they're looking for. And this doesn't matter whether these are going to be students in your classroom or students in an online course. It doesn't matter. They still have to be able to look critically through this material. So I see that this doctor was at Mass General. When I go back to the Wikipedia article, I see that in the Wikipedia article, this doctor was at the University of Massachusetts. If I keep reading through the articles, I'll also see references to MIT and Harvard and some other places like that. So with that information, what I can do is I can go back to my Google search and I can add some extra things to my search. There's very particular keywords that are given to you that will allow you to go in and tailor your searches a bit better. For example, if I put in site : and then I add either a domain name or an extension, such as edu or harvard.edu, and then click the search button, what I've immediately done is I've narrowed down my results from the millions of results I got before to only 4,600 in this case. But at the same time, the results are going to be much more targeted towards what it was that I was really looking for. Let's look at another example. If students go in and they're doing a search on the American Revolution and causes, they're going to go ahead and they're going to get their 22.1 million results. But as we look through these results, what you're going to notice is that everything in green is coming back from a United States source. And this is a global event. This is something that's going to have another perspective that we can introduce students to. And in this case, that perspective is going to be coming from the British. So if I do a quick search on Google for web country codes, what you would see is that every country around the world has a two-letter country code that goes with its country. And if I go in and type site colon, and in this case, UK, now all of my results are going to be instantly coming back from this alternative perspective. So as you can see, what I'm having students do is really think critically about the type of information that they want and also who's going to be that best source of information. So those are the two questions I always want to ask when I'm searching the web. Who's going to be my best source, and what kind of information do I really want to get back? Now, if you really want to become a pro with this, I don't have time to show you all of the features that Google offers you, but when you scroll over to the side of a Google search, you'll see this gear button. And when I click on the gear button and go to advanced search, you're going to be taken to a page where I can scroll through and I can enter information anywhere on this page and get other types of stuff that's really going to help me. So for example, if I'm searching for information about I want data from the 2000 U.S. Census, I can go ahead and type in 2000 U.S. Census. So I'm typing in a word and a phrase. And then if I want all of my material to come back as a spreadsheet that students would be able to graph, students would be able to chart and things like that, I can go to File Type and choose Excel. And when I search on that now, I can go ahead and I can narrow down all of my results so that it's coming back as Excel spreadsheets that students would be able to open up and would be able to really, really find the types of information that are going to be most helpful to your students. So if you're having students research, whether they're in an online classroom, whether they are in a standard classroom, they're going to be going out on the web and finding material. And we're spending a lot of money out there on databases and all that other kind of information, which are very valuable to students. But if students are researching, generally, they're going to go to Google. So we want to make sure that those students have the ability to be able to search through and manage massive amounts of information.